carefully hear me now, because what I'm about to unravel is not some casual observation, not something you can scroll past and forget. What I'm about to hand you will crawl under your skin, shift the way you see yourself, and haunt the way you perceive others. Most people move through existence like background noise blending, copying, repeating. They spend their lives chasing comfort, hiding behind masks, never daring to ask why they feel so painfully ordinary. But then, every so often, someone different appears, someone who carries a force that cannot be explained in words. You sense it before they ever open their mouth. It's not charm. It's not charisma. It's not the practiced confidence that most people wear like borrowed clothes. It's something far more unsettling, far more ancient. An energy that doesn't just walk into a room, it bends the room around it. Carl Jung once suggested that such presence is never random. It's not luck, not accident, not some strange talent you stumbled into. No, this is the scar and the gift of someone who has ventured inward, into territories most people fear to even acknowledge. If you carry this rare kind of aura, you've likely felt it since childhood, that quiet separation, that subtle strangeness that made you feel unlike everyone else, even when you tried to blend in. It's a silent intensity that follows you, whether you ask for it or not. And here is the truth. Such energy carries a cost. To shine without effort is to trigger the world without intention. To stand out without trying is to awaken admiration in some and hostility in others. People notice you, even when you wish they wouldn't. Sometimes they look with awe, sometimes with suspicion. They may not even know why. They only sense that something about you disturbs the illusions they cling to. Some will be drawn to you instinctively because your presence feels grounding, alive, mysterious. Others will recoil, not because you've harmed them, but because your very existence exposes their insecurity, their masks, their hollow performances. Jung explained this through projection. People see in you what they cannot face within themselves. You reflect their hidden shadows back at them, and that is unbearable for those who are not yet ready to confront their own depths. This is why admiration and resentment chase you like two shadows. You ignite both simply by being. The first mark of this aura is your stillness. You don't scramble for attention. You don't beg to be seen. Yet eyes find you inevitably. There's a gravity in you, a calm weight that others cannot ignore. It is not silence for the sake of shyness. It is the composure of someone who has looked into their own wounds and returned whole. Jung called this individuation, the integration of shadow, the stitching together of all your contradictions into something unshuckable. This is why you radiate differently. You are not performing. You are not selling an image. You exist without the hunger for validation, and that absence of desperation is louder than the loudest voice in the room. But such stillness is costly. It isolates you, because most will never understand the battles it took for you to walk with such quiet depth. The second sign reveals itself in the way others open themselves to you. Strangers confess secrets they never intended to share. Friends reveal wounds they've carried for years. People pour themselves out in your presence as if some invisible force demands honesty. You don't ask. You don't pry. It happens because your energy disarms people. stripping away their masks until only the raw truth remains. Yet here lies the paradox. Once the moment passes, many of these same people will feel exposed, even ashamed. They will resent not you, but themselves for revealing what they've spent years hiding. This is because your aura acts like a mirror, and mirrors are not always kind. They show what people desperately try to avoid. Comfort and discomfort, safety and danger you carry both simultaneously. The third mark is your sensitivity to unspoken currents. You can feel the air in a room before a word is spoken. You notice tension in a glance, falseness in a smile, the heaviness that sits behind someone's eyes. This is not a supernatural trick, it is awareness. A heightened sensitivity forged through observation and self-confrontation. While most people are lost in distraction, you sense the pauses, the tones, the subtle shifts that betray truth. Jung taught that when we reconcile with our own unconscious, we develop an uncanny ability to perceive the unconscious of others. You faced your shadows, and so you cannot help but recognize them and everyone else. But what feels like insight can also feel like burden, because once you see, you cannot unsee. The shallow exchanges, the rehearsed performances, they exhaust you. Depth becomes your oxygen, while surface-level interaction feels suffocating. The fourth sign is the disturbance your authenticity creates. You don't have to point out anyone's falseness, your existence does it for you. Just by standing as you are, you reveal how artificial others have become. Some will see this as inspiration, a spark that reminds them of what's real. Others will feel threatened, as though your truth jeopardizes the illusions they depend on. They may avoid you, slander you, or try to shrink you into something less. Not because you've wronged them, but because you've reminded them of how false they truly are. Jung warned that society resists wholeness because conformity keeps the system alive. A rare aura disrupts that order. You cannot be neatly labeled, predicted, or controlled, and that alone is enough to make the collective uneasy. This is why you've always felt magnetic and alien, at the same time admired, yet resisted. The fifth sign is your complicated relationship with solitude. The deeper you grow, the fewer people resonate with you. It's not that you hate company. It's that most conversations feel hollow, and shallow ties drain you. You'd rather sit in silence alone than drown in meaningless chatter. At first, this feels like loneliness. You wonder if you're broken, if you're too different to ever belong. But over time, you begin to see solitude for what it truly is: not punishment, but refinement. In silence, your energy sharpens. In stillness, your intuition deepens. In distance, you regenerate. Jung believed individuation requires retreat, not to abandon the world, but to return stronger, clearer, more whole. Solitude is not exile. It is the furnace where your aura renews itself. And the final sign is the shift in your own self-perception. There comes a point where you stop asking, "Why am I different?" and instead begin to understand, this is how I was designed. Your aura was never meant to blend. It was never meant to follow. You exist to awaken, to disrupt, to reflect, to peel back what is false and reveal what is real. Jung taught that those who embody their wholeness become living catalysts, not by forcing change, not by preaching, but by existing in their fullness. That is your true power, not in your words, not even in your actions, but in your presence. Yet with such power comes responsibility to protect your energy, to guard carefully who you let close, and never to dilute yourself just to ease the discomfort of others. You must remember this. Your aura is rare because it has been forged in silence, shadow, and struggle. It is not the product of ease, but of confrontation with your deepest self. Do not shrink it to fit in. Do not soften it to make others comfortable. Stand in it fully, because you yourself are already the work, the mirror, the disruption, the reminder that something greater lies hidden beneath the surface of every human being